and welcome to a new episode of Thailand Explained. Today we are mostly talking about the topic of language and what is good to know when you come to Thailand when it comes to language barriers and how to communicate. I also talked a bit of my new participation in blockchain and tokenization before. Here is some small info on that in case you want to know more about it. It's really an exciting way to secure your savings and make them grow bigger.
Hi. It is clear that decentralized digital finance, blockchain and tokenization are revolutionizing the financial industry. Becoming the master of your finances again by investing in crypto and blockchain is the best way to benefit from these new technologies. Today, I am here to share with you how you could be a part of the ideal solution to achieve that goal. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology are revolutionizing finance management. We no longer have to entrust large banks with our valuable assets. With a new decentralized finance system, you can reclaim control of your finances. Decentralized digital currency is managed directly by the people, and without any third parties. You can securely transfer funds to other accounts with nobody else being privy to the details. You can even acquire your own debit card to purchase goods and services. Your accounts will increase in value when the projects you invest in gain, and you can let the system work within projects by minting tokens and coins in chosen projects you find profitable. To learn more, contact Tom. He's a coach and promoter for decentralized digital finance, blockchain, and tokenization. Hope to hear from you soon.
Today we have a long-time expat and also a teacher of Thai language with us. Welcome, Gary.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah. You were my teacher before, and I think I took 2 of your courses, and it was really incredible. And that's why I wanted you to come on the podcast to talk a little bit of what you're doing. But before we do that, how long have you been living in Thailand, Gary?
Oh, it's getting on for 20 years now. It doesn't seem so long. Well, it seems like most of my life now. It's very difficult to gauge how long one's been here, but I feel like this is my home now.
Yeah, the same as me. I've also been here for 20 years, so I think we both have the same feeling about that. But tell us a little bit about your story since you came here, also where you come from and how you ended up in Thailand.
Well, I originally came from the UK, and I was looking for a way to get out of the UK. I could sense even in those days that the UK wasn't going the right direction. There wasn't that much in the sense of democracy or personal freedom. And I was looking for a place that was kind of third world, but where I could maybe still continue to earn a living as a Westerner. And I ended up in Thailand purely by accident. I wasn't intending to come to Thailand. I knew nothing about Thailand. And I stayed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a story with most people. They come here in passing, they pass through it, and then they never leave.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that when
Yeah.
it comes to me too, because I also ended up here a little bit the same way. But it's pretty incredible that you just ended up in Thailand and suddenly now you're a teacher of Thai language, and you made your own easy system of teaching how to learn Thai, and it's pretty brilliant. It's called Rapid Learn Thai, and you can find it on rapidlearnthai.com. First, we will get some answers about how the locals see us. We will talk a little bit about the locals and how we communicate with them and how the Thai people think. That could be a good to know, especially for those who come here for the first time. So, Gary, do the Thais understand us when we speak English?
Sometimes. I think those Thais have been to international school or have studied abroad have a much better command of English. And of course, the Thais who are familiar with tourists and expats are more able to understand us. But there's plenty of misunderstandings because they don't always catch crucial words. And many foreigners, in fact, especially native English speakers, we speak indistinctly, or we have strange accents that makes it really difficult for them to understand us.
Yeah, that's true. And we're going to get back to that a little bit later also. Can they communicate well with us in English?
Actually, not so well. Many Thais don't pronounce English clearly because they often don't enunciate the ends of words, and they can't pronounce L. So, like school or ball, they say schoon and bon, and then words like central become centran, and then words that end with an S, like office, are often pronounced as a kind of stop T, like office. So when we are trying to listen to what they're saying, we don't always understand what they're saying because they're unclear to us.
Yeah.
But those Thais who have been to international school or have been abroad or have made an effort to learn to speak English accurately, they are few and far between. But those who do speak well do speak very, very well.
There is different places around in Thailand, and of course, I guess Bangkok is like the capital and where most of the Thai speak better English than other places. But where do they speak Thai in English, and where do they not speak English?
Well, mostly in sort of international business settings or tourist areas. So taxi drivers, restaurants, kind of high level restaurants, not really in the street. Bars, of course, and massage parlors, because they're dealing with foreigners a lot of the time, and often in the very large shopping malls, where they're selling not only to Thais but also there's a lot of foreigners. So Bangkok, the Bangkok business district, Pattaya, especially where the tourists hang out, and actually in Phuket, because the thing about Phuket is a lot of foreigners go there, but even Thais from different parts of Thailand go and stay there and work there. And very often the Thais can't always understand each other's dialects. So what they do is they just use English as a lingua franca. So places like Phuket, and of course the islands like Koh Samui and Phangan, the very popular ones. But not so much in Chiang Mai, which is quite a large town or city. And of course, almost nowhere else are they able to really speak English reasonably well.
You started by telling a little bit about the pronunciations, but how does the Thai speak English in general when they learn it from the first time?
Well, it's mostly a kind of pidgin English that kind of follows the Thai grammar rules. So Thai language doesn't really use pronouns very often. There's no way of saying a plural. There are no plurals. There are ways of saying plurals, but the words don't have plural versions. There's no infinitive, so they don't say I'd like to go. They say I like go. And of course, the ends of words aren't enunciated clearly. So they would kind of speak in a kind of Thai English or Tinglish. So hungry. They don't say I'm hungry, because in Thai, if you're hungry, you just say the word hungry. Go eat. No want beer. No like drunk man. Oh, you handsome. You pay how much? Not many customer come. That kind of. So what I find is a lot of foreigners, they start to speak English in that manner.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I really ruin my English by being here, because it's easy for us to make us understand to the Thais when we speak like they speak, and cut out a few words and so on.
Yeah, and of course they say odd things like I'm boring when they mean I'm bored. So they don't really understand the subtleties of the English language, and things like now's a day for nowadays, and things like I ever went to Phuket, because in Thai the word for have you ever been anywhere is just the word ever. So of course we mangle Thai far, far worse, and often in very obscene ways. So we have no right to deride them for their poor English. At least they make a real effort to learn English. And most of them speak English far better than we can ever hope to speak Thai. So, kudos to them.
That's true. And they're not shy about it like we are. We are shy to do something wrong, but we don't really realize how wrong we are, so to speak. So should we, as foreigners who live here, should we learn Thai, or should we just manage in English?
Well, it's a contentious issue, really. You can get by without knowing much Thai, but it will be difficult unless you have a wife or a girlfriend, boyfriend, a partner, or you have staff who understand enough English to be able to understand you and can communicate organize things on your behalf to other Thais, or to to the bureaucracy, or to working with suppliers. So the trouble is, you're missing out on so much and not even aware of it. So it's kind of like never having listened to good music, or never having had good sex. You won't miss it because you don't even know what you're missing. But it's definitely worth being able to read and communicate in Thai if you want to make deeper connections with your Thai friends and your partners and your lovers. And also to better understand and communicate with staff and suppliers and officials. Because, even if they do speak English, they don't really speak it well enough for you to be able to get the detail or the nuance of what you're trying to get across. And you also have more options, like you can get cheaper medical treatment if you go to a government hospital. No one speaks English there except maybe the doctor. But if you're on the operating theatre and the doctor's trying to ask you, are you feeling pain? Do you want more this, more that? And they don't really know much English. You want to be able to speak enough Thai to be able to get back to them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and if you want to obviously explore the countryside or parts of the city where foreigners don't go, or if you want to deal with difficult problems directly, it really helps to be able to speak Thai. And of course, there's also all those Thai websites, which are only in Thai and only for the Thais, like the Sideline website. So you know anything about the Sideline website?
No, not really. I don't read that fast Thai, so it takes a while for me to read a web page. But
okay,
so
but there's a whole world. There's a whole world of Thai and Thailand that we just don't have any access to.
Yeah,
and it's actually fascinating and a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that brings me up to the next question. Is it a myth that Thais talk about us behind our backs?
Well, Thais love to gossip. They gossip all the time, amongst themselves, about each other. So yes, of course they talk about us behind our backs. They talk about everybody behind their backs.
Yeah.
So yes, the answer is yes.
and Thais generally, what I see when I walk in the streets and I see the Thai people around me, they meet other Thais that I've never seen before, but it's very easy for them to communicate. They just start talking to strangers, and we're not really used to that in the Western world. We don't talk to strangers that much.
No.
What do they talk about to just go up to a stranger and start talking? What do they talk amongst themselves?
Well, if they're talking to you, they will obviously be practicing their English, and they will be going through a kind of a formula about, where do you come from, how old are you, how much money do you earn, what is your what kind of work do you do, what kind of food you like. But they are obviously capable of talking about a lot more. And it's obviously like anywhere, it depends on their background and their education and their interests. But in general, they talk about food a lot. They talk about their family and their friends. They love to talk about people. As I said, they're big gossipers. But they also talk a lot about politics. Of course, they won't talk about politics to us because it's the level of language is too complicated. But they have discussions about their personal or work interests. So where the kind of people that I mix with, they are usually parents, homeschooling parents, people from university. So they talk about education and ways of having a better education, and they talk about entrepreneurship and how to be independent and make more money and run a business. So they know a lot. They even if they're not formally educated, again, it depends on who you're talking to, but a lot of them know a lot, and they learn a lot, and they like to talk about it. They love to talk. And they love to joke, and they also love to joke and have fun and play word games. So it's fun to be with Thais, especially
it is.
If they're talking really Thai amongst themselves, because then they love to play word games and
and then, like I said before, they're not shy as we are, so they just talk, and it's really
absolutely
cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
So English natives and English in the Thai way, it's two different ways of speaking English in Thailand also. And it's easier to be understood actually when you're not an English native. As we, especially where I come from in Norway, can easily change our English to be easier to understand by cutting the words that are not necessary to be better understood. native English, they sort of just, like you said, just use their language and what they're used to. But me, that are not a native English, I can relate to the Thais and cut out the words.
And in fact, and I've had to learn to speak in a different way when I'm speaking to Thai people in English, because, or anybody in English, because I have to simplify my words. I have to use simple vocabulary. I must try not to use complicated grammar, like I would have done this if I had thought, you know, that kind of thing. I wouldn't talk like that in Thailand amongst Thai people.
Great. We're going to keep on going with talking a little bit more about what you do. But first, I just want to present to you the moment of truth. So here it is.
Tom is the founder of the company, You Are One of Us. He worked most of his time around in Asia, and especially in Thailand, where he lived for the past 20 years. He has assisted in starting several successful businesses, and worked in telecom, real estate development, hospitality, and the tourism industry. He knows how it is to create a great way of living, working, and start a business in a foreign place or country. Tom's background is quite unique, and he has gone through life with experiences that few can even imagine. But he managed to always keep his feet on the ground, never giving up, and always worked against achievable goals. If you have challenges in your business or in your personal life, Tom has probably already gone through it. His life story reflects a person that has gone through most of the challenges life can offer. But in the meantime also had many successful and unforgettable experiences, exploring the world both for work and pleasure. He is also a habitual motorbike rider with more than 250,000 kilometers on the roads in Asia and the US, where he also used to be a guide on the famous Route 66. He has become a highly respected master coach and trainer. Tom now specializes in business coaching and life mentoring, as he has been living and working in many different fields and in a lot of different places around the world. Tom can be of assistance with any business startups in Thailand. He will help you to plan how to live and function the best way in a foreign country, how to cope with cultural differences, and how to become a great leader in your own life. He also teaches communication skills, creates sales and business development training, do business planning, strategic planning, and function as an advisor and consultant. Tom is a go-getter, a person that never gives up on any.
It's fundamentally about how to remember the language, and then everything else has developed from that.
Yeah. So can you tell a little bit about how the rapid method works?
All right. Well, I start off by learning to read, because the first few years that I was here, I kind of learned Thai in a phonetic way using this phonetic transliteration and this strange way of describing tones in musical terms. So even though I'd learned quite a lot of vocabulary, no one could understand what I was saying because I was speaking in a very mangled kind of way. And then I decided I need to learn to read first. So the first thing I did is try to figure out a way in which I could remember the Thai letters and figure out how to make out or sound out Thai words. So I used visual pictures using the shapes of the letters and then creating mnemonic stories around the picture that had, and I used mnemonic stories, and I used mnemonic, I'll start again, and I used mnemonic stories to help me to remember what the sound of the letter was from its shape and from its picture.
Okay. But why is learning to read so important? Because I see a lot of the other courses that is online, they only learn how to speak Thai and understand Thai, but nothing is about reading. Why do you think it's so important to learn to read?
Right. Well, of course, like myself, everyone wants to rush to be able to speak and communicate in Thai with Thai people. But as I discovered, you learn the wrong Thai. So even though you can speak Thai, no one can understand you because you're pronouncing everything incorrectly and you're hearing things incorrectly. So when you can read, a couple of things happen. One is you could immediately know exactly how to pronounce a word accurately with the correct tone. If you use transliteration system, it's so non-standard and there's so many different kinds of systems and there's so many different sounds because they're using English words or English sounds that are, again, very different. You know, I say bath An American person will say bath.
Yeah.
I will say go up the stairs, and somebody in the north of England will say I go up the stairs. So if you don't see the word spelt in Thai, you have no idea how to pronounce that word correctly.
That's actually a very, very good point.
Yeah, and the second thing is that we are surrounded by a living dictionary. So wherever you go, you see words in Thai menus and phrases in the Thai signs, the street signs, and in the notices. So when you're learning something phonetically, the only way you could pick up vocabulary is by listening to people and try to make out what they're saying, or by having a list of words with the transliteration. So you're working from textbooks. When you can read, wherever you go, you could just pick up Thai words. You don't always know what you're reading, but you could sometimes work it out from the context. And very often you can obviously look it up in your Thai dictionary app. So they say, oh, right, that's what that word means. And then you add it to your favorites or your saved list.
Yeah.
And the next time you come and look at that word and you say, oh, yeah, I come across that word before. That's what it means. And you come across the most common words over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And you remember where you saw that word or in what context. Oh, I saw that word in the menu. It was something to do with fried fish. Or it was fried something. And the next time you see the word, say, thar, you say, oh, it's fried chicken this time, or it's fried this, or it's fried whatever it is. So, and you just absorb the vocabulary all the time because you can see them, you can read them. You can't do that if you can't read.
No,
it just doesn't exist. You just can't register it. It's not part of your.
That's actually brilliant, and I don't think anybody had thought about that before. So it's a very, very good point. So, do we need to learn how to write?
I don't bother. I mean, I can write, but because the way the rapid method works, it's all about the shape of the letter and what the picture is derived from that shape. So in a way, if I want to write, I actually am drawing the picture in a way, drawing the outline of the picture, and that becomes a letter. But the trouble is, this Thai spelling is not easy. There are so many different T's, and there's so many different S sounds, and there's so many different M sounds and R's and whatever it is. So you don't always know which letter to use when you write. So the best thing is just to passively absorb the Thai letters and be able to at least sound them out and understand what they mean. Of course, even in your own language, writing is a very advanced skill. You need to have done a lot of reading to be able to know how to compose sentences and how to spell them correctly. So I just don't bother. Saying that, over time, I've become familiar with words and I think about how to pronounce them. I have to kind of think how it's spelt in my mind to get the right pronunciation. And eventually I'm starting to become familiar with the correct spellings of certain words. But, to write and compose a letter or email, of course, it's a different language. It's a formal way of speaking. It's a formal way of writing. We don't speak like that. Same like in English. You don't speak the way you write. So, I wouldn't bother until much, much, much later, basically.
No. That's good to know. But I think many people want to hear about the next question I have, and that is, how long does it take before you can read?
Okay, well, if you learn to read the conventional way, which is unnecessarily complicated and arduous and boring, it can take easily 6 months just to get the basics. But what I've discovered with the rapid method, because it's all visual and all based on mnemonics, it literally takes you a few days. It only takes 4 days to learn how to read, but we then spend another couple of days to practice.
Okay, so how long does it take before you can communicate in Thai this way?
Okay, well, obviously it doesn't take long to read, but that doesn't mean that you can communicate yet, because you don't always understand what you're reading. So that takes a bit longer, because it's more like developing a skill, like learning a sport or learning to play a musical instrument. You have to build it up over time. So I would say, as long as you are reading a little bit and communicating a little bit every day, and it doesn't have to be very much, 10, 15 minutes is sufficient, then I would say, and of course, you need to, in a sense, read colloquial material and pay attention to the signs around you so that you can develop a vocabulary. But I would say within, say, 6 to 9 months to within a year, you could be relatively fluent in conversational Thai. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And without studying arduously, without spending much time, you know, maybe a few hours every week. That's it.
Yeah. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. What if you already learned some Thai and people are learning a little bit Thai when they come to Thailand, they become expats and they stay here for a while, but probably they learn the Thai a little bit the wrong way. Will the rapid method help for them?
Yeah, I try to get people before they start to learn, because whatever you learn is kind of wrong, and you're going to have to unlearn what you've learned in order to do it the correct way with the rapid method. So the trouble is that you learn to pronounce things incorrectly. You learn the wrong way to pronounce the tones. I mean, the tones are actually the same tones as we have in English. But when you think about Thai tones, the way it's taught, it's taught in a musical way. So you start to sing in Thai and no one can understand what you're saying. So I obviously learning the rapid method will help you to learn Thai better, but you kind of have to forget what you've already learned and start afresh. So those people have learned a long time the conventional way. They've got bad habits that they've entrenched and bad ways of pronouncing things. And it's quite difficult to get them to unlearn what has now become an entrenched habit. So I prefer to say to people, listen, if you've learned Thai, maybe stop learning for a few months and then come to the rapid method. Hopefully by that time you've forgotten most of what you've learned. And you know, just and then start from fresh. Or ideally, I'd like to find people who've just arrived or are just starting, and then I say, okay, at least learn to read with the rapid method and learn how to pronounce and sound out the words correctly. And then afterwards, if you go to a language school or somewhere else, it doesn't matter so much. At least you've got the basics.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about what kind of courses do you offer, both offline and online?
Okay, well, I've originally I designed the course to be a self-study course and to be done online. So my main course is the Rapid Read Thai course, which is an online self-study course. But I discovered that a lot of people don't like to work on the computer, or they tend to procrastinate, or they just don't have the inclination to work by themselves. So I also offer the boot camp, the 6-day intensive workshop, where we just go through the same material as you've got online that you could study by yourself, but we all do it together. It's kind of like going to an aerobics class. You know, the aerobics instructor is in front and tells you what to do, and you just do what she says. But if you go home and try to do aerobics by yourself, it'll never happen.
Right.
So, and of course, I do also have online webinars where we go through the same material, but we do it live, and everybody's there. They've made a commitment to attend the class, and we do it together. And at least it's sociable and more fun, but it's not entirely necessary to do that. And of course, once you've learned to read, I then have various courses which are based on conversational Thai, but it's learning conversation through reading. Because if you do that, if you can see what is being said in front of you and you can understand it and you can say it out yourself, that actually helps you to speak Thai and to become more fluent much more quickly if you do it that way. But it's not absolutely essential to follow the system that I've developed for conversational Thai. You could then go to a sort of a relatively advanced class. Although saying that, I still feel, even though I'm saying this myself, I still feel the way I learn conversational Thai for myself is certainly for me the most effective and most efficient way.
So if you finalize the online course, then you can sort of do a follow-up. You can go to another course that is more that takes care of more of it, or do you have sort of a follow-up thing that you can get your own tutor or something after the course?
Yes, I've got two things. One is I've adapted the Everyday Thai for Beginners course, which is developed by the University of Washington as a first-year university course. It's a little bit dated, so I'm modernizing it and making it available online as a kind of self-study program.
Yeah.
But once you start getting into conversational Thai, there's a lot more that you need to study and discuss in depth. So I have a number of tutors. In fact, I have a native English speaker who has learned Thai with the rapid method. So she can explain to you in English and from a Westerner's perspective how to learn Thai, how to pronounce Thai correctly, what are the physicality that you have to do to get the right pronunciation. Because Thai teachers, first of all, they try to teach you the more conventional way, which isn't really quite correct.
Yeah.
But secondly, they take so much for granted about their own language. We do too. I mean, I couldn't teach English as well as maybe a foreigner who's become fluent in English, because there's so much I take for granted in English that I don't even think about mentioning it to somebody else. They have difficulty learning English with a native English speaker because I wouldn't point out to them things that they need to know. So anyway, so the tutor I have will then work through the either the Rapid Read Thai course with you, if you can't be bothered to do it by yourself, or we'll do the follow-up. We'll go through the Everyday Thai for Beginners course, which is basically a system of learning conversational Thai in different situations, with key vocabulary and sentence patterns rather than phrases. So if you know the pattern of a word, all you have to do is slot in the vocabulary words to be able to get the idea across. So she'll explain that to you and work through it with you in Thai, but explaining it to you in English. And then once you've done that, you can then move on to some more advanced stuff, which again is reading conversational material like a romance novel, which has got a lot of conversation and is very relevant because romance novels tend to be about yourself and your partner and your friends and your people and everyday stuff. You don't want to read thrillers or science fiction movies or zombie movies or horror books, because it's not real and nobody talks like that.
You don't use it.
Yeah. And then I have a Thai tutor who is familiar with the rapid method, who will then teach you in Thai and explain to you in Thai what you are learning, so that you're now starting to think in Thai and understand in Thai.
This sounds brilliant. I guess it's a lot of people out there that listening that want to get in touch with you and how to see your course and how to actually order the things that you have.
Okay, well, I suggest the simplest thing is just go to the website, rapidlearnthai.com, and sign up for the intro lessons, which is free. And you'll learn an awful lot just from the basics. You'll learn about pronouncing the tones correctly, and you'll learn a bunch of letters and be able to sound out a good few hundred words in literally in an hour or two. And then you'll be able to see for yourself whether this is what you want and if this works for you.
That's brilliant. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that with us, Gary. Let's talk about something else, because we talked a lot before. You are involved in different things in Thailand, except for the learning Thai and the rapid Thai. Tell us a little bit about your latest projects and ideas, because I think that is there is a lot interesting stuff there.
All right. Well, that's still all work in progress, but there's two main areas I'm working on. One is as I help foreigners to come and settle in Thailand, either to retire or to come and work long term, and that kind of developed organically from the people who came to learn Thai. I became friends with them and they started to settle in Thailand, and invariably they would ask me questions about problems they have with their wife or their husband or their boyfriend, girlfriend, and problems they had with the builders. And so I ended up providing sort of advice and consultancy, but that took up so much of my time that I decided the only way I could do that is to, in a sense, do it commercially and provide consultancy and get paid for it. Otherwise, I would just have no time for myself. So that's something I do on the side as and when people want and need advice. And then secondly, I set up a foundation for education.
Oh, yeah.
I come from a homeschooling background. At least I myself wasn't homeschooled. I went to a regular school and I learned nothing. Took me 20 or 30 years of leaving university to then educate myself in how to conduct myself and how to be a nice person and how to do business and how to make money and so on and so forth. So my own kids, I didn't send them to school. I home educated them or homeschooled them. And a lot of parents don't really understand the concept. A lot of parents in Thailand think that homeschooling means learning the school curriculum, but at home. So they say Rong Rian Tiban, which means school at home. And it's a different philosophy. So we basically show Thai parents what it really means to homeschool your kids. And it's not really about academic education. And then that has kind of developed into something that's more entrepreneurial. So a lot of homeschooling families tend to work for themselves because, you know, you can't really homeschool if you have a full-time job. You know, the one thing about schools is that there tend to be places where you park your kids so that you can go off and work. And if your kids are around about with you at home, you have to figure out a way of working around your children. And so a lot of Thais are very interested in self-education and developing their own businesses. They're very entrepreneurial and they're very enterprising. So they don't always understand what they're doing, but they try anyway, and they fail a lot. So what we're trying to do is to help people, not just Thais, but also foreigners, you know, people like digital nomads or students who want to fill a gap year and learn how to become a freelancer and how to become financially independent. So essentially what we've got was, for the kids, we're teaching them very important skills like coding and not mathematics, but mathematical thinking, how to think logically, how to understand if something is true or not from, you know, is it logical? Does it make sense? Where does the research come from? And then, of course, understanding finance and understanding business. How do you market yourself? How do you go onto YouTube and create videos, and how to produce your own work, how to record things and how to edit them and how to publish them onto the internet. So in a sense, helping people to become independent and almost, not quite, but almost off-grid. So you're not dependent on a company to go work for. Yeah, we saw that in COVID when companies just laid off people. Yeah, a full-time job is not secure as you think it is. If a company decides, oh, sorry, we can't afford to hire you, you go. And then you have no skills in order to find new work. But if you're self-employed or you have your own business, you develop skills about how to market yourself and how to find new customers and how to find new products. And so one of the aspects that we're working on is try to enhance or expand our foundation for education to be a kind of a incubation center where we help people to incubate their business ideas and then ultimately become independent and not necessarily rich, which a lot of Thais, what we all kind of dream of being rich, but you don't need to be rich. You just need to be comfortable and well off in a sense where you don't have to think so hard about where your next paycheck is coming from. And you have enough money to cover contingencies and to enjoy your life and to have entertainment and have a bit of holiday and so on and so forth. But again, a balance so that you don't have to kill yourself and work 20 hours a day for what? You know, there's a kind of, and the thing about Thailand is that because they come from a kind of a Buddhist culture, they're not really attached to objects and desires and material things. There's kind of an inner life, a more spiritual life, where they almost don't need that much in order to be content and to be happy. So we're trying to incorporate that in a sense, kind of like a fusion, Western fusion and Thai fusion, where we learn or we help people to become financially dependent, well off, but not necessarily rich because you don't need to be rich. You just but rich enough or well off enough so that you can have an enjoyable life.
Yeah. Yeah, this reminds me a little bit. I talked to some Thai people and they told me that they sort of see everything as borrowed. Everything they have is borrowed because they're not going to take them with them when they die anyway.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
So they don't care if it's good to have a nice car, but they have to give it back sometime. You know, they're going to sell it or they're going to wreck it or they're going to die before. So it's a little bit like that. And that's the spiritual thing.
It's yes, it's like living for the day, living for the moment.
Yeah. And I also became a lot more like that after I moved to Thailand, because I see that in Norway, especially now also, that everybody they're thinking about what the neighbor have. And if the neighbor have that nice car, I have to have the same or a nicer car, and I need to have this, and it's all materialized things.
Yeah.
See them as borrowed, because you're not going to keep them anyway. so it's a good philosophy. It is really good.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've learned a lot by being in Thailand because of that. But, obviously, the Thais are also being influenced by that. So there are a lot of Thai people who are over striving for these goals of richness, of riches, and material possessions and keeping up with the Joneses. But I think on the whole, the Thai culture is, what's more important is your friends and your family.
Yeah.
And being able to enjoy life. And in fact, many times I've tried to employ people and offer them a decent amount of money, more than they would get paid otherwise, to do a job for me. But if they feel, oh, this is too much effort, they'd rather just not have any money than to work hard for a project that they don't really want to do anyway, no matter how much money they're getting paid. And that's, it can cause trouble. It can cause problems, because you're asking them to do things, or people can sometimes not really have any drive, so they don't really better themselves sometimes. But in a way, maybe they're right. Maybe it's not necessarily to kill yourself to achieve something that you're going to have to give back anyway.
I do a lot of this in my coaching, and if you're doing a work that you hate, you will never do it well. And if you do some work that you're passionate about, you don't care about your salary. Absolutely. So it's a little bit like that, right?
In fact, my background was in computer systems and consultancy, business consultancy, and I did a lot of very boring projects. I got paid a lot of money, but I was watching the clock. I just really hated being there. And actually, because of that, I wasn't as good as the other consultants who really enjoyed what they're doing. And I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't do the work on time sometimes. So I gave it all up. Which was hard because the money was so good.
I did exactly the same thing, and I don't regret it.
Yeah, but in the end, I'm very happy with my situation now. I don't earn nearly as much money, but I feel I have so much more free time. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I can basically decide what I want to do. You don't have to do necessarily what the client says and what the company says.
That's brilliant. Well, Gary, time is running out. We're very, very happy to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for all the great info. It was a lot of great info on this one. We hope to see you again with us soon. And I will for sure pop into one of the boot camps that you have to record some live Learn Thai experiences for later episodes. So I hope to see you soon, Gary. And
that would be very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you so much for popping in.
Okay, thanks.
Bye. That's all for today, people. Hope to see you again in a few days, and we will next time take you on a test ride with my motorbike on the road to see how podcasting while riding works, and also to talk about bookings and how to book your tour to Thailand or domestic Thailand travel. After this podcast, if you want to stay tuned, I'm going to put out the introduction video from Gary to his rapidlearnthai.com course. So if you want to hang in and look at that, then it's a 5-minute extra for you. I see you again, and I'm going to make a new podcast in a few days again, because I was riding last weekend, so no time for podcasting, but I'm going to catch up with you, and I see you soon. I'm out.
Welcome to the Rapid Read Thai course. Being able to read Thai will open up a new world for you and make your stay in Thailand so much richer and more rewarding. Thai is actually easy to read because, unlike English, it is consistent. Once you have understood the mechanics, there are very few exceptions. Thanks to this online course, you will eradicate the indignity and frustrations of being illiterate. This course is based on several years' research in accelerated learning. The approach is based on powerful visual associations that are created subliminally to imprint the letters in your mind. Of course, you won't necessarily understand what you read. That comes later. By being out and about, you can't help being bombarded by signs, notices, and images all around you. If you pay attention to these, you'll be surprised at how much Thai you will pick up on the fly. And many impenetrable-looking signs are actually derived from English. You will also pick up a few advanced concepts as a side effect. Being able to read Thai will considerably accelerate your ability to communicate, and you will learn with greater understanding and with more accuracy than if you rely only on transliterations. Learning phonetically, with the transliteration schemes, results in an inaccurate Farang dialect of Thai, which is very difficult to unlearn. The rapid method does not follow traditional learning methods, nor the standard way of describing Thai grammar and structure. You will not learn the names of the letters, nor the order of the alphabet. And instead of letters falling into a complicated high, middle, or low classes, each consonant is either a girl, boy, or ladyboy, with archetypal and often quite obscene characteristics. For example, men and women are sporty, women are emotional and vain, and ladyboys are melodramatic, sickly, awkward, exhibitionistic, and into sexually depraved fetishes. Most consonant letters in the Thai alphabet are ladyboys. The sex of the letter is vital for determining what the tone of each word is. But you will have no problem remembering what the sex of letter is because of its personality. And the story that helps you to remember what it is also includes its sex. In this course, you will be introduced to concepts in a logical and progressive way. Everything builds on what you've learnt before, and you learn only what is necessary for your skill level. New facts and ideas will be revealed on a need-to-know basis. So it's best to stick to this course only and not to supplement your learning with other material from other courses. It'll only confuse you and may even set you back with bad habits that will be difficult to eradicate once they've become ingrained. The rapid method is as much a process to develop the correct thinking patterns and build a kind of muscle memory as it is about remembering facts like letters and words. The research involved in developing the rapid method is focused on finding the most effective and efficient ways of learning a language, and in the most enjoyable way, so it's fun to do in its own right. Work through the lessons and follow the instructions as directed, and you will find that you will eventually speak beautifully and clearly and be easily understood. After completing this course, you will be able to sound out words accurately with the correct tones. And as you work through the course, the words you study will be automatically added to your collection of flashcards. Please flip through these flashcards a little every day. They will include mnemonics to help you remember the meaning for each word. With practice, and by building up a decent vocabulary, it will become quicker and easier to read words and sentences over time. And you will also find that you will begin to understand more, not only of what you read, but also what is being said around you.